Olá, pessoal. Boa tarde. Bem-vindos, bem-vindas e bem-vindes ao Wikidata Lab de número 35. Este Wikidata Lab será conduzido em inglês e eu vou mudar para essa língua agora. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wikidata Lab number 35. We have a special guest with us today, and I'll let him introduce himself and carry the presentation. Thank you, Amador. I'll add you to the stream right now. Yes, thank you so much for your time and for your availability to conduct this training. And yeah, you can start. I'll add the presentation to the streaming.
Okay, thank you. I was invited to talk about modeling elections. Election is a domain of knowledge that in Wikidata was very poor represented until we need from Catalan Wikipedia, we need to understand how elections run in order to prepare an info box that represents the results. And then we discovered that first, the elections are not easy because there are a lot of different kind of elections. And second, nobody was talking Wikidata in order to modelize this complexity. It's true that in the project, in the election projects, were data dictionary with the main properties. So this is the invitation to the presentation, modeling elections. But in fact, I would like to send my experience about how to handle ontology when you enter in a knowledge domain that are not flat, are not easy, are not simple, but very complex. We will see some examples. So to start, well, you know already Eder Porto, and this is my. I say that I am wikimedian because my first curriculum is not important now because I am retired, but my background helped me to enter in this kind of aspect techniques of the Wikimedia world. However, I brought a lot articles in Catalan Wikipedia before Wikidata infected to me and enter in this world. To understand why we get this kind of specialization, we must go to the year 2016, when in Catalan Wikipedia we take contact for first time with the Wikidata and its possibilities. In that moment, we had not too much articles, more or less 300,000, and Wikidata was not very rich too. It has, I don't know, but thousands of items and increasing, but not more than 1 million, for instance. I don't know, but was very at the starting moment. In that moment, we identified that Wikidata will be a very good tool to fit the info boxes. Our info boxes were in that moment similar to any other Wikipedia. Manual information with parameters, thousands of specialized info boxes because we had an info box different for each job occupation. In the case of persons, or for each region, or for each towns, uh, um, uh, uh, neighbors, etc. So uh, we identify that was impossible, will be impossible to enter the transform all these wiki info boxes to be ready to use Wikidata. So we decide uh, make a big re-engineering and try to simplify the number of info boxes, creating a more complex info boxes because were more transversal. And for instance, we have we will see figures. We have just one info box for any kind of person, any kind of job, any kind of history. We have one info box for any kind of building. Doesn't matter if it's a church, it's a theater, it's a museum, it's a dam, it's wherever, wherever, etc. Yeah, and we have one info box for any kind of political organization of countries. So it means that I can use it for a country, a region, a department, a town, a city, a neighbor, or a village. Doesn't matter. It runs for every one of them. So the number of info box to maintain, we reduce at maximum, and take advantage to the incorporation of new properties or new features that appears affect immediately to hundreds of thousands articles. This regenery we started more or less in 2017, more or less, and we had increasing and improving the some of the first info boxes now are in the fifth version, because we changed it integrally each year or each 2 years in order to incorporate more and more improvements. This is our figures nowadays, and I will result emphasize in the that we if we see here in the group one with 4 info boxes, persons, geography, organizations, and interest mean points, geographical points. With these 4, we cover 51% of all the articles. When the second group, with four more info boxes, is reviews is taxons, buildings, films, and events, any kind of events. When we say events, it doesn't matter, headquarters, assaults, storms, whatever, parties, or film awards, whatever. With 4 more, we arrive to 21% more. It means 72% of the all articles. In total, with big info boxes, that is a left group, left part of the graphic group, we arrive to 76%, and we have in the right what I call long tail, that is 78 small, very small info boxes that are oriented to very specific things. Okay, for instance, in lang, we have all the languages, but nothing else. In transport, we have different kinds of flies or sorry, flies or trucks or cars, and it's important, but in quantitative are really figures very discrete. Look at the part with more articles. Sport, for instance, is one one area very important in all the Wikipedia and the Wikipedias, but it's an area with a very difficult ontology to represent any kind of things that can happen in a sport. Not only because each sport is different, but also because it's not the same define or show the information about a club, about a team, about competition, about each round of competition, about a match. It, uh, it has a lot of different ways to represent the information and handle all of them with only one info box or two info boxes is really difficult. So they are here in the line of start in order to be prepared to move to the left block of the statistic. So what is the difference in between data dictionary and ontology? A data dictionary is something that we find usually in when we read the wiki projects pages in Wikidata. Mm, uh, we detect easily that all of them has a data dictionary, but data dictionary was created when the project was created. Some of these projects, or almost all the projects, were created at the beginning of Wikidata with the idea to fill as much as possible the information inside the database. It means in the first step of the life of Wikidata, the most important thing was fill the information, enter information as much as possible, because with a database empty, you can do really few things. So the quantity was very important. Then appear the quality, because we need to filter duplicities, etc., or inconsistencies. But don't in that early moment, didn't study how were or how should be the relationships among different entities within knowledge domain. And this appear the ontology concept. It's not ontology is not new, but I explained that in that moment of the time appears the ontology use or detect the necessity to use in order to not only have a large number of items that are mm, itself auto self-explained, but without relationship with some other items, and be able to construct a conceptual schema that explain the relationships and the different frequencies of each entity in relation with another entity. So uh, uh, to summary, the data dictionary describes the characteristics of the contents. So it's very important to understand what each property means, and the ontology show how the relationship among entities are. Let me show an example of both. On the left, we have the typical data dictionary. You have the properties and an explanation, not only basic explanation of the property, but also how what those represented this property in our case. On the right, we have an example of ontology, a complex ontology, is the case of music. Um, if we try to enter, uh, sorry, we try to talk about the items, person items, people items. In general, they are very basic, very flat, because In the item, you have all the information related with a person and nothing else. The different values you can see are related to another items, but uh, doesn't build and structure itself. For instance, if the person has the place of birth and it's a city, you have the link to the city, and so you have two items related. However, the cities are not inside the domain of the person, so are another entity when relation, but not within the conceptual model. In the case of music, uh, you have the composition, what the music bride. You have the players, the musics, maybe a person, maybe a group. You have the tracks when a composition is recorded. You have the release when this recording is released in different formats: CD, YouTube, in live, wherever. And you have also some music that has been played but has not been recorded. For instance, the opera in the 19th century that everybody knows, the day that the opera was presented, the people who sing, but we don't have any kind of recording about that. And all these kind of entities has a data dictionary not exactly the same, are very different one to another. And the different properties serve to make a link to the other entity where that relation is related with this one. So this is the concept of ontology, and make this draw is not so much difficult if you understand the business that you are trying to modelize. And so it's important to understand the different entities that play in the concept of music in order to understand how you must define each entity and each data dictionary to be complete. Um, Following that, I will try to explain now the ontology about elections. This is our case. Our case is election, and when I start to sorry, when I start to try to uh, modelize elections, I make myself different questions. What exactly is an election? When you say, I need an info box about election, I want to make an item about the elections of my town. What is election? An election is the election day. The things that happen in the election day is the act of voting. Is important the number of people that goes to one specific college and how many votes are in this specific college. Maybe it's something that we see if we go to our college in our town. We will know the results of this college in our town. But this is a concept of election. The election is the result, the final result in my municipality or global state or in my region, or the interior electoral process, because the electoral process is long. It start weeks before the day election day, and then weeks after the election day. So reading an article, a Wikipedia article, where the people use literature to explain how the elections runs, um, we can see that they talk about a part of all these questions appear there. Explain about the how the day goes. It was a funny day. It was tense, was difficult, too much abstention, etc. Talk about the results. The results the final results, because the elections are oriented to one specific objective. Elect the president, but there's just one result. Elect the chamber. Oh no, there are a lot of results, one for each region or for each constituency or whatever. And after that, statistical information about um, how is the percentage among parties, or compared with last year, or among the different regions, which region is before the other in terms of win. Uh, so all this kind of information appears in an article. But what should we have in Wikidata? So uh, to answer the last question, I decided that the most important thing, at least to start in this ontology, were the election results. Is what the people want to see more, or what the most important thing they want to see. But the election results, looking in a block of current election, the present election has a pre-election phase and a post-election phase. In the pre-election phase, we can see the preparation, the primaries on within the parties, surveys, debates in TV. Post-election is to use the results, transform the votes into seats, make the constitution of the chambers, elect the president among the members elected in the case of some chambers that are run with this formula, etc. So in Wikidata, in the Wikidata items now, uh, there are no anything related with pre-election phase nor post-election phase, are just election results. It doesn't mean that we cannot have information about these two phases, but not now. And if someone wants to make the design of the model, I invite to go ahead. So following that, the election is not just an act. Uh, it's an act, but the people want to see this act compared with the previous election. Oh yes, we have the result, but we have grow. We don't go down in general, or my party. The 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 assistance is going down. It's a bad signal. So it's necessary that when we talk about results, we keep in mind take care of the previous election, and use the results for the next elections in order to be able to compare. Um, Sorry, each of these squares, the previous and the next, are exactly the same in terms of modeling that the current one. Okay. Um, well, but it's interesting in these elections. What kind of data, what kind of level? I detect that the results are the people handle the results in the colloquial use, handle the results in function of uh, they want to talk about. Okay, for instance, I called operative level to the level where the the elections make the action. For instance, operative level is the level when you vote the finally votation, the finally voting to a president, or the place where you finally decide the people that get seat for the chamber. This is operative level, where the results make the action, because where make the action that it has been done by. But also appears the sorry, I don't say the constituents level, but because the constituents level is the place where the vote is counted. So, uh, for instance, in a chamber, in elections to a chambers, that is very usually in all the world, in all the countries, elections for a chambers, the usually the chamber has a number of seats that are filled at the operative level, but the seats are you bet for a seat in the constituents level. In some countries, the constituent level is all the country. In others are the regions. In others are whatever. Okay, so the place where the seat are get is constituency level. The place where the seat act and is useful is the operative level. If you want to know uh, how many senators your region, sorry, which senators your region will send to the chamber, you need to see constituent level. If you want to see how many members of one political party will be in the chamber, you need to see operative level. Okay, um, but this is not the only one, because usually we use an upper, what I call upper aggregated. It means while I have a municipalities, for instance, where constituents level is the same of operative level, because I choose in my municipality, I choose the members for my municipality, for instance, so are the same constituents and operative are exactly the same. But I want to see how many mayors has been elected in all the country for this party, for this political party. So this information is upper aggregated, is aggregated over the operative level, but has no value in order to operate, only in order to handle statistically, because you know a figure that give you an idea about the success of one party, but in my tone will be my measure, no the other ones. It doesn't matter to me. So this is another level that we need to consider, because people use usually. Um, we have a case identifying different types of elections. There is a case that the elections are in two rounds. This is typically in some presidential elections, that in the first round, if someone um, get more than 25%, sorry, more than 50%, um, it is nominated. But if not, they goes to a second round with the two most voted persons. This kind of votation means that we have a result that is composed by two results: the result of the first round and the result of the second round. So we have two elections, but no, it's not true. We have one election with two acts of elections: the first voting and the second voting. Okay. Um, mm, well, I define another group that is a election grouped elections. Grouped elections is something that really our infobox doesn't hand too much, but conceptually we must accept in the ontology of elections, because a grouped elections means that all the different kinds of elections that are not comparable one to another, that happens in the same day and the same act of voting. For instance, in Brazil, you vote in one day, I don't know, 4 or 5 concepts: the municipals, the president, the chambers, the senators, etc. So all these elections happens in the same day. Um, all of them are very related. The act of voting is the same because you go and vote in 5 lists in one time. Um, but really are not mixed because each of one has its rule and has its list and has its results, and nothing, it has no relation, um, technically, politically, I don't know, but technically has no relationship one to another. But I draw this level because uh, when you call general elections, is a concept, and this concept must be reflected in the ontology, and we must to be prepared to understand what does it mean. Okay, another level is intermediate aggregated. This is a level that I found reading um, uh, the aggregated results that people want to see, but has any kind of validity in terms of actions. For instance, in constituents level, if the constituents level is what we call a province, it means some kind of county, province, or something like this. But the operative level is regional. So yes, the operative level will give me the regional results. That is the seats in the regional chamber everybody has. But I want to see how many result, what the result in terms of votes that I have in my province or in my count. So it intermediate results is only useful to be published, to be a study as a statistical result, but has no effect in terms of the application of the result. So uh, all these levels are represented in the model I draw, and probably we can find, or we can find another one in another situations. But until now, I I could draw any kind of elections in this ontology. Uh, how is our ontology to draw this one? If music was this, it means we have different entities with each own data dictionary, and the links build the structure of the ontology. In our case of elections, the ontology is very difficult because all the items has 90% a similar data dictionary. Because if in music is not the same talk about composition and talk about albums, or talk about registration, or talk about groups, here all the items has a structure that talk about what are the parties, what is the day, how is the results, what is elected, how many seats it won, etc. So the structure is very similar among them, and the relationships is only to explain that this result is included in this other result or not, or this item belongs to one specific kind of elections, etc. Because when we enter in Wikidata, we need not only read with our eyes, but read with our machine. So one software needs to enter in Wikidata, understand what represent the item that reads, and then be able to follow any kind of link that allows it to travel through the model that is enriched and the information you are looking for. So um, in our case, here are the relationships that allow to move back and forth, and nothing else. With these properties, we can know that this constituency level, one information we find here, belong to a one determined intermediate aggregate if exists, or a group of elections. In any case, elections of country, elections of municipals, etc., etc. Um, the colors are not only to show more friendly, but to indicate what is absolutely mandatory, is the green and the blue. What is optional, and cannot be add one thing with another, that is grouped elections, because here is heterogeneous information. And the yellows are intermediate and are statistical exclusively. And in terms of consistency of information, uh, um, e- each item is autonomous in its content. So if you read the definition of the item, is labeled. All the information in terms of quantities are related with this definition of the label. So if you see that the results is in one municipality, all the figures are related with this information, and the upper level uh, is the addition of several of those levels. However, the model doesn't add lower information to aggregate automatically to upper information. Each level is autonomous in itself. Um, Maybe you say, oh, if you have the low level information, you can make a bot and add all the results and bill automatically at the upper operation, upper level. Well, if you see the Wikidata in terms of elections, you will discover that people only enter the information that he or she wants to see. The rest, doesn't matter. So nobody can confirm that in an election you have all the constituency levels, because the people enter the constituency level that he wants. My town, the other town, to me is not important. So if you want to see what is the result for my country, you need to go to operator level and has only one item with this information, but fill specifically. And the result in the operator level is not the addition of the all constituencies level, because nobody can assure that you have all the constituencies levels. This is important because I when I started working in that, I discovered that people want to see the result, the final result. In your Wikipedia, you make an article for elections to chamber in my country. It's difficult. You make an article in Wikipedia saying results of the chamber of Senate in my town. It's very difficult. So the disaggregated information, the low level information, usually is not managed in Wikipedia. So it's not the people is not in a hurry to enter in Wikidata. Um, Questions? Do you want to make any question via chat, for instance?
Yes, Amador, we have two questions at the moment. I'll highlight this first from Comunicação. And the question is, editing is becoming more technically intricate,
Mhm.
and how has the community reacted, and why make the Catalan community more open to this kind of innovation? I think not why, but how to make
Uh,
them.
bueno, why? Uh,
You
I
can
don't know.
answer why and how.
I, I don't know. Why? Why? First, wait. Why make the community more open to this kind of innovation? Ah, because I like it. Why? Because I like. Um, Look, I explained the history about info boxes because if I if I was started thinking in Wikidata as a database exclusively, I will, I will, or I would search for open data where get information and put in Wikidata. Okay, doesn't matter who it will serve. But I started as a user of Wikidata in order to get information to show in Wikipedia. So I found a lot of problems provoked by people that enter information, good information, and I recognize, but do, without think how and the people um, will go to use. So when I find these problems, I need to enter in a level that I didn't think before. That is, okay. So I need to define what is the structure of data, but is something contradictory because the structure of data suppose that somebody will study before, and no, this is not true. This is not true. The people study data dictionaries. So understand and define very well how which properties are needed to define a concept that is related with one concept. But nobody think in draw the relationship among concepts inside a knowledge domain. So, as I need to spend this time. I try to share with the rest of the users. And if the editing is becoming more technical intricate, uh,
I think the question they made a postscriptum of the question is what made the
man,
Catalan community more open to this kind of innovation. We have, for example, in Brazil, in the Portuguese Wikipedia, a kind of a resistance to the integration of Wikidata and the Wikipedia project, but
mhm.
this doesn't seem to be the case on the Catalan Wikipedia.
Okay. We are um, 100, sorry, 1,100 editors. Okay. Um, and we have seven 750,000, sorry, no, 750,000 articles. It means that we have a lot of work for so few people. So when we started with using Wikidata in info boxes, people reacted not very well as in the rest of the areas. um, because say, oh, this is not my property, I didn't write this, it comes from another. If somebody tried to misuse the information, etc., etc. But when they discover that writing info box person and nothing else appears a column with full of information, say, okay, in my life, I will take care about. So convince 1,000 people, well, 1,000, not one each one behind the other. 1,000 is a number that enter or no enter, or is working 1 week or not. But in terms of magnitude, 1,000 is not the same as that have 7,000. So to me, the click to convince them was demonstrate that we can show more data that they never figure out that exists. And that's the reason, because our info boxes are each time more rich, more with more richness of information. Okay, so we have no enough saying that one person work in this company, in this company, in this company. No, no, we say the year start and the year end on each of them, etc. We don't. It's not enough. We say that this person is member of this club. No, no, no. We say in which kind of condition is the president, is a member, is elected, is, and we use heavily the qualifiers in order to enrich the information that we show. And this was the way, or the clue to um, to convince the editors that if they try to make something similar using manual parameters, the effort will be, yeah, yeah, very, 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 very big.
And I'll skip the question from João for now because I think there is a comment here from Roberto Garrigos. The fact is that editing is not more technically intricate, but less, at least for a simple editor. And yes, it becomes more difficult per the one to maintain the info boxes.
Yeah. Yes. When I work in IT, and when I was young and work in IT, I always explain to my collaborators that as much we suffer, less suffer the users. We can do a system, an app, easily to codify. No validations. Um, the user interface accepted, etc. Probably the user will be wrong several times. We can say, ah, how stupid is the people doesn't understand how to use my fantastic application. This is not the way. So as much as IT developers suffer, easily becomes for the user.
Yeah, I think that is the thought of our community as well. It agrees with the movement strategy, the especially the point of improve user experience and resources for newcomers is to facilitate their contribution to the Wikimedia projects, and I think that's um, very true. And we
I,
have another. Yeah, you can.
so no, go ahead, go ahead. I will send you a message at the end, in order when you say the links. Uh, I think that, well, I will pass in the chat. Ask me the
Yeah,
question.
we have a question from João. Electoral data in Brazil is normally unstructured. We have issues with candidates as they have no structured ID. How could we improve these so that we can automate the data flow.
I don't understand that have no structure ID. ID, Wikidata ID, or your person ID, or
Yeah, let me explain the mess that is
ah,
the Brazilian political and elections data.
yeah.
So every election, the politicians apply the candidature of them,
Mhm.
and with different names. We don't have a unique identifier for that person in
No.
order to fill the information on Wikidata. For example, this person was elected. How do we find this person on Wikidata? If we had a unique identifier for candidates, it would be so much easier for us to make this reconciliation. This person run this election and the next election. Oh, they have the same ID, so they are the same person, and we can match easier and fill the information easier
Yeah.
on Wikidata. So how do you solve this, or is it solved on the Catalan Wikipedia?
Uh, well, we don't have this problem. Um, the ID as a person usually is a name of family name, and if we have several people with the same name and family name, we make a disambiguation in Wikidata at Wikidata level, and that's all. It's it's obvious that if the political is professional, it appears election after election, and you know who is. If the political list appears in one election in the number 35 in the list and don't get seat, and in the next one don't get seat, etc., etc., finally you don't have knowledge about how many times it appears in, or it was presented in election. It happens here. It is the same. For instance, when I explain how to fill item selections, I say, don't write the name of all the people that is in the list, because it's impossible. If you have 100 seats, okay, all the parties will present 100 names. So 100 names times 25 parties, you have 2,050 persons for only 100 seats. So um, that's why I say the election items must be filled when you have the results. And so you only need to enter the names of the person that gets it. It means that you don't need to create so much items for a people that nobody else will appear anymore for here for Wikidata. However, if you want to show the information that the day previous to the election day, you need to write some information about the candidate. What we may is enter the information about the candidate that belongs to a party that already is present in the chamber, or if a party is a new party for this election, um, has has how do you say, intention of votes um, significant. Okay, because for instance, in a Spanish election for Senate, or for I don't know, the parliament usually appears, um, two or three hundred parties, because there are parties that only belong to one provincia and only belong to this provincia. Yes, or probably in the best of the cases, he will get one seat. Okay, but it appears and handle 300 parties times 10 or 20 people in the list is, is full. It's impossible. So
Yeah.
my opinion is, uh, or you wait until the election day and then enter all the information in the item, all results, seats, numbers, etc., or you enter the parties or the people that has possibilities, and if something happened in the election day, you fix immediately adding its name, because if not, in Wikidata we cannot have all the work. We have five and a half thousands of millions. Not everybody will be in Wikidata, so must be
Yeah.
reasonable.
Yeah, the process, explaining a little bit, the process of writing or modeling Brazilian elections on Wikidata. We started this process on 2018. Erica Zellini, João Pechansky, myself modeling uh, the Brazilian elections.
So,
Um,
I saw.
Yeah, and Erica built this structure of how the items connect,
Yeah.
and this always can be revised. But
But,
our main problem.
just a few, because I saw your definition,
Mhm.
and it's in general terms are very similar with the model that I brought. That I do you see the two links that I added in the chat?
Oh, let me get here. Yes, the
Yes.
template, the
The,
template for
but
the election.
yeah, because both of them explain the first one explain the model of relationships among entities, the last screen I showed, and the
Mhm.
other one is talking about templated, okay, info box. However, um, it explains more specifically which kind of information you need to enter in function of the kind of election. Yeah?
Yeah.
But you must understand that this info box work for referendums, for two rounds, for direct votation, for proportional votation, etc. So, uh, um, um, as the info box, when you call the info box and you say an item, say, please draw me this item, the info box doesn't know this item what kind of election is. So it must follow one rules to use the information in a similar way to obtain the result that correspond with the type of election. And sometimes it show something irrelevant because
Yeah.
because if you you uh, make a fake with Infobox, the Infobox get crazy, and uh,
Hmm.
but in this in the Infobox template in the documentation Infobox template, it explain uh, property by property what you need to enter in order to explain that if this is a general elections or it's a municipal elections or whatever.
Hmm.
So the combination of the two documents uh, is easy to understand and validate your model. But when I show your model, I detect just small small mistakes, because about the how do you group it in subclasses, because you created an intermediate level that don't need, and it make more complex the structure when you don't need to make so complex. I don't know when, I don't know where, but I send you a message with the resume, and alternative proposal of the draw. Okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw, and
but
that's easy to fix our model. It's
yes, because
extra things that could be
yeah,
removed without prejudice to the general integration of items. At the time we made this structure, I think that touches something that you said in the beginning, that it's important to understand the different concepts before defining your structure. And we built, Erica built this structure, and it worked for us, and for the Brazilian elections. For our proper purpose, that was to uh, all the articles in Portuguese Wikipedia about elections are in the same structure, and we wanted to build not exactly the info box, but the tables of results on the Portuguese articles.
yeah.
So that
The,
structure
but when you
helped
say
us.
when you say
Yeah,
table, you mean a statistical table.
yeah, the results table. This person was elected with this number of votes.
Yeah, yeah.
The is from this party, and I don't know if you have this on
Uh,
your country, but we have coalitions of parties that come
no,
together,
no,
and
no. Yeah, no.
it's a whole
The,
mess by itself.
the task of analyze the results. In my excuse me, if we go to my presentation, I say, are you seeing the presentation? The
Yes.
pre-election phase and post-election phase, I didn't solve. Okay, if you want to open this watermelon, are you free to do it? Is
Yeah.
look. For instance, I give you I tell you a small lie. In this post-election, for instance, when you choose a chamber, in our case, for instance, in Catalan chamber, the president of the government of Catalonia is elected among the deputies. Sorry, the oh, the yeah, well, yes, the deputies in the chamber. Okay, among them, choose who is the person with more support, and is the president of the Catalonia. And then he or she make the government, etc., etc. So, in order to fill the foot of the info box, appears this information appears. So when in the item of elections, the property um, consequences of the election, say no, i- oh wow, wow, how do you say, inauguration of this president. Okay, and appears. It's a small treatment of post-election, but in post-election you have a lot of things, this kind of analysis, etc., etc., etc. At least, and the model has the information. For instance, the coalitions are in the model. So if you want to analyze the information you have, well, is the editor entered, obviously, but it has a place to in the data dictionary. It has a place, and I add another improvement that is not in Catalan version still, but is in Wikidata version. That is, we detected that especially municipalities, municipal elections, some parties changed its name because of marketing reason. So yeah, and it's no, it's not a lemma, and it's not no, no, it's a change of name, and officially is registered in the ministry with this name. However, they are a party that is recognized. Simply is in this in my tone is presented with a suffix after the name of party, and then the other tone is presented with another suffix. So I implemented a option to say, okay, this party with this name, official name, and accounted with this and with these results, in terms of compare with the previous election, is the same that this other party, but just in order to compare. No, no, it's the same party. It's another party, but in order to compare results, because if not, in the info box when we show um, how many increase decrease you have been, uh, everybody appears without information because has no previous information, and I can show the decrease or the increase because all the parties seems to be present for the first time, and this is false. So I add this gadget in order to be able to compare with some other party that you say, I believe in you, that is the same party in effects to be compared results. Um, so the material is the raw material is in the model. If you want deploy future performance or topics, you can do it. Uh, I make an experiment, but it was just an experiment. I entered in the last elections for Catalonia chamber. I entered the results of all constituencies. So, in terms of levels, the operative level for us is the Catalonia level, where is the parliament, but the constituents level is or province, and no, yes, no, not wrong. Yes, or province, yeah. And I entered the information of all towns, all municipalities, 990. So not so bad in order to enter information. Um, and I may let me find. I make a very special resume. Um, yeah, 2021. 20, oh, just a second. I am lost in that moment. Okay, how do how do you show how do you show uh, a page in the
You click on present, and
uh,
you can share screen.
present? Okay, share screen, share screen, share screen. Okay, finish. No, okay, this one. Okay, do you see?
Yes.
Are you seeing? Okay, this is the InfoBox standard, and here appears is long. Sorry. Sure. Mm, yeah, okay, here. Results that dialed by each municipality, for instance, in Lleida. Okay, and here we show this table and say town by town. Are you seeing? No. See?
Yes.
Okay, town by town, how is the number of persons that vote, valid votes, and for each party, political party, how many votes and which percentage represent for each one. And in green appears the winner in each, the party winner in each town. This table is done with a listeria vote. Okay,
Yeah.
do you know with listeria vote?
Yes, we use
Huh?
Listeria a lot on Portuguese Wikipedia.
Okay, so I make a listeria bot that gets all the information for each town, write down, and make the change of colors, calculate the percentage because in Wikidata we don't have percentage, we only have votes, and build this information. But the effort to do that is is, is Titanic. It's Titanic.
Yeah.
So I believe that it's better to make a Lua module and build which any kind of table you want.
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, we have another question.
Yeah, perfect.
Comunicação again. This is somehow unrelated. I don't know if it is. What is your opinion of
No, I
wiki
have
functions?
functions. I have no opinions. I have no
No
opinions
opinion?
because no because I didn't work. I I participate voting if we wanted to do it, etc., but I didn't enter and in the topic. Um, my opinion is uh, uh, look, we can do Wikidata because the contents are structured and the most objective possible content. When you talk about aspects that need some kind of difference or cultural difference or local difference, etc., everybody wants to do by your own. For instance, our info boxes, I I offer to several Wikipedias to uh, co- copy my info boxes, but don't modify, don't adapt to your concepts because I will maintain. If you want to change something from the layout that I designed it, tell me, I will change it and I will incorporate for everybody. And people say, yes, 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 yes. Okay. Can I copy? Yes, I will copy, I will modify, and goodbye. This is a problem because you say, if you want to copy, it's up to you. But you are losing the capacity that incorporate the modifications or the upgrades I do because someone else asked me. Uh, I mean, people want to have his speciality, its touch in everything he does. He do. And Wiki functions as a way to homogenize all this war of functions. I agree. Conceptually, I agree. All my life, I work creating functions for the rest of users that develops. The difference is I have the capacity uh, f- to um, to say in my area that you must to use this function because it's shareable for everybody. But here this is not possible.
All right.
You make a function and you explain to Germans or to English people, it will say, yeah, yeah, no, but my case is different.
Mm-hmm.
Or info boxes, for instance. I put a last one link that I incorporate is examples of templated info boxes, elections info boxes. Okay, all kind of situations, referendums, municipalities, etc., etc. Aggregated constituents level, all of them. Um, if you enter in this page, it will show in your language, okay, because it's multi-language. And if you use another kind of punctuation in figures, point or comma for decimal, it will show in your style. So it's adapted. If you don't agree with the color on the top, doesn't matter. It has a template style that you can change without change the code. Okay, so uh, all these kind of facilities to be shareable, to share with some other people. Although I implement, people doesn't like because say no, I prefer to copy and then make the info box mine and modify as my community decide. Well, it's Wikipedia, it's open source. I have no problem. So wiki function, I think that is a good idea. It's a good proposal for this large community, but it will arrive to the 20% of basic functions that nobody discussed. That it must be done in one way, but something else a little bit more sophisticated, everyone wants to do their own.
Okay. I think that's all the questions. Amador, thank you so much for your time, for your explanation. I think it's very rich content and a very rich documentation on how to think the process of creating an ontology and the data dictionary. I think it's a great way, not only for elections, because it's one topic, but this discussion and these things that you talked about, I think are replicable for other topics. You example uh, gave an example for music, but I think every other topic could be needs to be uh, structured on Wikidata. That needs to be structured on Wikidata. Could be improved by following these guides that you shared with us. I have only one last question in regards to this data dictionary. That where should one build a data dictionary? For example, oh, I love lamps, and I want to structure all the lamps on Wikidata. How do where do I start? Or there is a place where I need to build these a specific a place to build, or I need a wiki project for that.
I don't know if it exists a wiki project, a lambs wiki project, but maybe not. Maybe animals, no, animals no, and doesn't exist. Exist taxons, but it's in general is plants and mammifers and etc. And no lambs, I don't think that no, it not exist. Um, my I, I say wiki to me wiki projects in that moment are all of them are old fashioned. All of them are are stopped 3 years ago. You enter in any wiki project and send a message asking for something to the list of participants. Nobody answered. Nobody answered. Uh, this is an advantage. For instance, in elections, in wiki project elections, I started asking questions and nobody answered. Finally, I defined this document, ontology proposal for Infobox. I write this document and send a message to everybody. Say, hey, I brought this document. Please, could you check and answer the open questions or criticize anything that I brought? Nobody answered. And after 2 years, I I put a message over there. You say, this is official ontology because nobody answered in 2 years. So if you want to write about lamps, I will open a wiki project called lamps. I will define a data dictionary thinking in all the things you want to talk about lamps. I will open a special section called new properties that we need to ask. Um, is very important because when you goes to ask for a property, you say we have discussed in our wiki project and we need this property because it's important. It's very important. We discuss in our project, and this is a pressing to the approval properties people. And then start and go ahead because it's the same as all wiki. If somebody stop you and say, no, 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 you are wrong. The right way is this one. Say, okay, yeah, I found, the other person that talk about this topic. Nobody else talk. So if you don't agree with me and want to change, it's because you talk about that. It's interesting your opinion. We are two talking about that, you and me. So we agree which is the correct definition, and we have a project. That's all. It's, it's,
Great.
it's sad. It's sad, but it's like this. And in these topics, the maximum go ahead and the rest will follow you is perfect. Is perfect. It runs perfectly.
Be bold is the is
Be
the
bold, be bold. Exactly, be bold.
is the direction. Okay. Thank you so much, Amador. That was really rich discussion, and thank you for everyone that wrote a question on the chat. We will now go to the practical activities. If anyone can want to participate, they are welcome. They will be in English, Portuguese, Catalan, or every other language. We find a way to communicate there. I'll post the link on the chat for everyone that wants to join, and we will meet there shortly. That's it. Let me see it. Yes, the link went to the chat. So thank you again, and see you. And we keep talking about elections and
Okay.
topics surrounding.
And take the opportunity to invite the editors that are more involved with elections, the people who brought the pages you sent me, to share with me any question that I have or any change that will propose to my model. Doesn't matter. The important thing is that we share a model wherever, but a model, because if not, the information filled by one cannot be read by the other.
Yeah. So I posted the link for the Wiki project elections on the chat again, so people
Uh,
can
yeah, yeah.
subscribe to the list and talk on the
I don't
discussion
actually.
pages.
Yeah, yes. Add to the list is a good idea, but it's not enough.
Yeah, and participate. People can
Participate.
participate.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
again, and
Thank you.
I think I see you in the practical activities. So
Yeah.
thank you.
See you.